then I have to remember to start recording all over again. So
okay.
It takes a minute. So welcome to our high flying business network event. This is our 7th event actually, and I'm really excited to have John speak up very, very shortly. But first, I always like to kick this off with a little introduction of who we are, who we serve, and how we serve them, and how we can get in touch with you if we wanted to. If anyone watching the replay wanted to get in touch with you, how can we do that? So, John, I'll give you the floor first, seeing that you're our guest speaker.
Okay.
A little bio of who you are, what you do, and how you serve, and how people can connect with you.
Okay, yeah, hello everyone. My name's John, so John Banks. I am, first and foremost, I'm an R&D engineer by day, but I also run a web design agency down in Southampton, and I also run several blogs, which is kind of like my sort of main interest now. So kind of the writing, blogging side of things, which is where obviously today's kind of episode. But yeah, so I can be found on my blog at sideincomeman.com.
Sideincomeman.com. Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Do you mind to
So
just
we talk a little bit about, it's the whole kind of sort of side hustles game, and you know, if people want to start earning additional incomes alongside their sort of 9-to-5s, that's primarily where it began.
Fantastic. Would you mind to drop your link in the chat, and then I can just always copy it and paste it into the email that goes out? And the same for all of us here. Andy, do you want to unmute or turn on your camera and share? Or we can hop over to Chris. That's waiting patiently. Okay. We'll go to Chris. If you want to unmute or share, then just help yourself. Just unmute.
Yeah, I'm unmuted. Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, nice to have you here. I'm Chris Campbell, and I'm a life coach, and I help mainly women recover from toxic relationships, mainly narcissistic abuse.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Why are you so quiet? Because you do have a webinar coming up, don't you?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, so what more?
I don't know about it.
I'm not quite sure, John, unless you're in an abusive relationship or come out of one.
Not at the moment.
Oh yeah, no, because I've got a webinar on Wednesday, so Morel's been working with me on that. Yeah.
Yeah, Chris, this also goes out to on the replays, to the whole email list and on YouTube. So you may want to just give us a little context behind that webinar that's happening on Wednesday, the 22nd of July. Do you want to share?
Okay, sorry. I thought you were talking to John maybe. Yes, it's just about helping people. It's intended to be a DIY program. So giving everyone all the elements that are required to actually recover from a toxic relationship. There's a lot of work involved. There's no way I can teach them everything in that webinar, but what I can do is if they actually write down or note down absolutely everything I mentioned in there, and they cover every element in there, they will recover, and they should recover to a thriving state. So I feel pretty sure about that.
Fantastic. Awesome. And you can drop the link in for your webinar and your contact links also in the chat, and that will go out to the emails and everywhere else. Thank you. Okay, so let's shed the light. So, John, firstly, the power of networking. I was following John on Instagram for a while because he has some awesome content out there. And I really appreciate his shares. They come from an authentic and real space and a place of, he shares what he knows and what he's done. So then he showcased his book that he wrote, and that's what we're going to come to in a minute. But I was really thinking about that and how he was selling it on Amazon already, right? So I was thinking about the book that he wrote, and I was like, why would he write a book? So I did a little bit of research, okay? Now, you know how they say success leaves clues. Okay, so the idea is to pick up the clues. So while I was doing my research, I noticed that if you look at all the successful business owners like Tony Robbins and Mel Robbins and Vishan from Mind Valley, and I don't know, just list them all. They've all written a minimum of one book, minimum. Okay, so I was thinking, like, why a book? Like, I'm not an author, and how would somebody who's just a business owner, so to speak, like concentrating on the business, how would they then like put all the efforts and everything into writing a book? And that's when I invited John to the network event, because I thought if we can take, and this is what John, you shared with me on the interview, and what we shared out everywhere else as well, that if you can take the content that you've basically used, the content that's in your mind, like the content that you're going to share in the future, the content from the knowledge that you know already, and be able to put that together in a book and sell it on Amazon, then you're picking up the clues of all the successful business owners. And it doesn't mean copy what they do, because you'll definitely fall into a rabbit hole, but what it means is pick up the clues and make it your own. And this is what John is going to do for us, share with us today on this call, and why I'm really thankful for you to be here with us. So, John, firstly, what made you start writing your book? Like, what made you decide write a book?
Okay, so hello. Thanks for the introduction. Got some boots to fill after that.
Sorry, no pressure.
So primarily, so like I say, I don't claim to be an author. That tag author. My sort of first and foremost is from a blog perspective, and I think as a blogger, writer of that kind of in that kind of field, you sort of develop your own voice, if you like, and your own way of conveying ideas and portraying ideas, which I like to think is what I also do on Instagram. So that's kind of how we sort of met. But with regards to the book, it was multiple reasons, really. I guess number one is kind of an extension of what I already do. So it's kind of an extension of the website and the people that use the site already, and you know, and that sort of community around that. It's kind of an extension of that. So the other one is obviously it also becomes another income stream. If that's your primary reason, then there is also that. It isn't for me, but that is another. I mean, it happens. If you make sales of this, then you know that's another stream. And it's also a great sort of another lead magnet. I mean, I think a lot of books now you'll find, especially in any kind of marketing field, that offer any kind of service, the book primarily is very much a lead magnet for higher selling, higher ticket items. In the case for me, which you did sort of briefly talk about, a lot of the time people, they already have the content out there. If you've got a website already, if you're a blogger like myself, if you run podcasts, if you host webinars, you know, you will have content already made. And in your case, the sort of social media aspect of it, you're a great sort of social media creator. You know that your content and your information is all packaged together around Instagram carousels. Okay, so and a lot of that, I basically just curated posts that were already written, tailored them a little bit more to make them in sort of book format, and then just kind of compiled the whole thing together. There's a really famous book actually called The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. You'll probably be familiar with it, but if you dig into the sort of finer detail of that, that's essentially a load of blog posts, which he sort of packaged all together. So yeah, that's kind of where it started. That's kind of where it went from. I should also say that prior to that, I've probably got about, I don't know, 15 other books. They're not novels. They don't have they're very, very low content books. So things like journals, notepads, notebooks, that sort of thing, which I don't even know people realize you can do on Amazon. So you can actually sell just blank notebooks on Amazon, as long as you tailor the front and back, you know, or if you wanted to write a journal out, which is essentially just 100 pages of the same thing, you can do all that. But this is the first kind of actual written book that I'd put together. So yeah, so that's kind of where it started.
That is amazing. I love how you what I found as well is that when you have a book with your name as an author, you get like 1,000 times more authority and credibility in your niche, in your field, and that makes our audience know, like, and trust us, like, almost instantly when they read a book that you've written. It like, I need to know this person. And when they then see you on social doing any kind of they already know you, and they already appreciate you for what you've shared with them. And another thing which I found really like nice about writing a book, this is more on the nicer side, but the more meaningful, not nice, was the fact that, just imagine spreading impact through your book. So if you see that like just thousands and thousands of homes with your book lying inside of those homes, and how many homes or how many people in those homes have you impacted with the content that you've shared with them. So it's really,
so with mine, the purpose of mine was very much a sort of, I sort of wanted in my head almost like the sort of magazine left on the coffee table. That's what I sort of envisaged with it.
Yeah.
You know, the sort of pick up, because mine's all about side hustles. So it's blueprints on how, you know, if you wanted to earn some extra money, it's essentially that. Some of them which I've done myself, and other ones it's where I've interviewed other people and they've kind of broke down the blueprint. So I've just sort of put it together in book format. But so the idea of mine is that you can pick it up, you can literally scan, go to, you know, whatever section you want, and then you can sort of browse through that, and it can be talked about and it can be shared and it can be picked up. Oh, maybe I need to go back over that again. It's not so much a story, you know, like a War and Peace front to cover. So the whole format around it, and that's what I've done it. I wanted it to be sort of like a big, it's not small, it's like 8 by, it's the size of a magazine, like a decent, or not, you know, like a sort of premium magazine style. So that's the kind of what I wanted with it, just to kind of, you know, have that sort of place, really.
And there's another point that you mentioned about it being a lead magnet. You know, a lot of people have this concept, like, notion that lead magnets have to be free, and it doesn't at all. It could be anything up to like a small commitment, financial commitment, up to like $25, $30 or something like that. It's also called a lead magnet. So you're right about that. So how long did it take you to write this book?
So again, because it was largely, the content was already there, it was curated really. So I guess packaging it together is a better way of saying it, rather than writing it, because a lot of it is already pre-written. A lot of it was blog posts, but then I just added bits to it and tweaked things to make it more, you know, evergreen, if you like, for like a book. But I'd say I've probably done the whole thing. Once I decided I was going to do it, it probably took, give or take, a month, but that was in the evenings, just the odd hour here and there. I didn't go flat out. It would be sort of a very much an evening project. There's a few little tweaks and tricks which I will talk about in detail in a bit, but it was more as well. It's one of those things that once you learn the process, see, now I've done this, I know how to do it again, and it'll be quicker again. And you've got to fine tune that system, because there is a bit of a process to using the platform. But yeah, so I'd say about that. It was very much a sort of side project within a side project, if you like.
Yeah. I like that. So would you take us through the process, John?
Yes, sure. So we can start probably by, I mean, it might be better if as well I send something over after the call, but because there's a few websites. So essentially, hello. So I use primarily two websites for the whole thing. So number one is the company that obviously lists it and sell it, which is everyone will be familiar with, Amazon. So Amazon have their own kind of print on demand book service, which is KDP, so Kindle Direct Publishing. So it's kdp.amazon.com. So if you head over to there, you can, I mean, if you've got an Amazon account, then you've already got an account for this. So you don't need to do it. You don't need to register or nothing. If you've already got an Amazon account, that's what you use with this. So you basically, you log into that, and then you've got two options here. You've got either, you can publish your own paperbacks, which is what this is, or this is the whole platform as well for, Kindle. So your ebooks, your Kindle books. I've chosen not to do this on Kindle. I've chosen to make this purely paperback, because I have done a sort of thinned out version, which I give away as a freebie, as an ebook anyway. So I didn't want to, tread on Kindle's toes, but as a paperback, it's absolutely fine. And then essentially, you just go through the process from there. So you'd have your author name, which in my case, I'm quite proud to put that on. But I know a lot of writers. I've interviewed a writer the other week who publishes books under a pen name, because it's sort of, she does multiple niches. So she'll sell books in different, like romance, and then one week it will be, I don't know, about some other fiction, like sci-fi or something like that. So she uses multiple pen names. But yeah, in this case, I think we're talking about, so you go through like just fill in the forms, and basically like you put your author name in, title, blah blah blah, and there's also the keywords, which is what the holy grail is. I want this to be able to organically rank, and then people buy it without me having to promote it. It's kind of doing that at the minute. It's maybe 1 or 2 sales every day, which is fine with me. But yeah, so you can always tweak things like that. I won't go into too much detail on keywords, because it solely depends on what you're trying to sell. But yes, there's a whole section around that. And then I guess it comes down to the nitty-gritty of it. Now, you are in complete control, so you can choose the size of your book and your dimensions. Okay, so you set out your sizes, and then, so once you've got that right, and once you know what you want to do in that side of things, it's down to actually creating it and getting it ready. Now for that, I used a program called Canva, which again, I'm pretty certain a lot of your users will be familiar with. So I used Canva. So the size and the dimension that you put into Kindle, you can then use those dimensions in Canva. There's a template called book cover in Canva, which is pretty much already done. So you can start with that template and then enter in your dimensions that you got from your Kindle book, and then just keep duplicating the pages. And then, so I wrote the whole thing in a Word document, and then this essentially just copied it over into Canva. And obviously the beauty of Canva is you can then start adding images and, brand it. And I've got little, pictures of me, and then I've got certain sections about Instagram on there. You can put links. Obviously, they're not going to be links, but you could put your social handles and things like that. And then once the whole thing's done, so this was a 100-page book, but obviously depending on however long you want to do it, you just download it as a PDF. So this is very straightforward. It's just a PDF file. And then you basically go back into Kindle, you upload your PDF file. It then takes maybe 10 minutes. It will process the whole thing. So stick the kettle on, upload it, forget about it, come back, and then the whole thing is there for you to kind of go through as a sort of preview mode. It will pick out what it thinks you should change in terms of the format. Obviously, it's not going to pick out spelling mistakes or anything like that. But it will pick out in terms of formatting. So to see if you've got like your bleed right, which is if you want the lines to run to the end of the page and this sort of thing. But it's all about, nothing goes live until you're 100% happy with it. So, and then it might say, like on mine, it gave a few pages where sort of like the image ran off the edge, and it will say page 4, page 10. So then you can just go in, tweak it again, upload it again, and then once that transcript's passed the sort of Amazon AI spec, if you like, you get like a green tick. You then go in to upload your cover, and then I done my cover myself again using Canva. So your dimensions, and you basically just double it up. So you want a front and a back. Your title of the book has to be on the cover somewhere. So for example, mine's called Side Hustles. So that word has to be somewhere on the title. You can, if you've got a thicker book, if you don't want to put it on the front, not on why, I don't know, but if you didn't want to put it there, then it can be on the bind there. So once that's done, you don't need to put a barcode in or anything like that, because it will generate an ISDN, I think the term is. It will generate a barcode for you, and it will apply that. They will apply that at the factory. And then once you get through that stage, you go on to the fun bit, which is deciding how much you want to sell it for. And then you've got multiple outlets, so you can choose different pricing across various countries. So you've got your .com, your .co.uk, and all over Europe. And there's also an expanded network, which I'm not too familiar with, but if you click that, it will basically open up a whole load of, because Amazon also own a load of other book companies, which I wasn't particularly aware of. So basically, it just means they'll distribute through them as well. And obviously, the really good bit, which is which is why the whole thing's great, is you pay zero to do all this. So it costs nothing. So it all comes out of your profit. So whatever your top line is, so say I'm selling this now for $9.99, so $9.99. My print on demand cost, which is what, so basically the trigger is, this is a digital asset which has been uploaded to Amazon now. Okay. If someone clicks buy, they will print it. Okay. So I don't hold a stock of 100 of these. I don't hold a stock of none. So if someone finds it on Amazon, they click buy, Amazon then print the book. They then send it out to the customer. They deal with all that. And then from the however much you've costed it for, they will take their printing costs out. This cost me, I think, $2.90 to do. So $2.90. And then the rest of it, you get to keep. So you can do other things as well. Like you can pay advertising for it, and you can promote your lit ranking and this, that, and the other. I should also point out that I've done this as cheap as I can. So I've done it black and white, non-premium paper, that sort of thing. Yeah, you can do color, glossy, and really go to town, but then obviously your costs are going to be higher. So that's essentially it without sort of showing you how to do it. That's literally it. So yeah, I hope that's kind of given some insights into it.
I can't believe how simple it is. Even when you told me it's so simple, I didn't believe you. Because like two platforms you need to use: Canva and Amazon.
Yeah, that's it. I didn't write it. The actual text was just a Word document, but then when you kind of go to build the pages up how you'd like them laying out, because on this one, for example, there's, I don't think you can see, but there's like diagrams and things like that, which obviously you can tailor however you want. If you just want a text novel, then yeah, you'll just be uploading a PDF file of text.
Wow. So I've written an ebook on pinpointing your brand identity and finding your target audience. Too little. I could really take that and put it on Amazon like this, because it doesn't even cost anything, does it?
Yeah, 100%. Doesn't cost you nothing.
Yeah.
Because it's print on demand. So the whole purpose of it is they'll basically trigger, when it's a sale is triggered, that's when they take their costs out.
That is amazing. So John, any strategies that you used or any techniques you used that didn't work, like anything you failed with in the process that we should be aware of or know of before we...
So from this, yeah. So I if I was to do it again, which I probably will, I would a little bit around the formatting. There is a bit of trial and error on that, because obviously I don't know. I mean, my template now is perfectly set up for, if you wanted to make 100-page book that's 8 by 10, I could send you the exact blueprint on how to do that, because I've got all that now. But if someone said to me, do a 6 by 9, 200-page book, then the actual content and putting it together would be fine. But you'll see when you upload it, there's a little thing like your cover might not quite fit. So there is a little bit of playing around. But so I think next time I would almost certainly outsource the formatting side of things, because I know that there are people out there that there is some premium programs and stuff that will basically do all the formatting for you. I wouldn't let that put anyone off. I would definitely still just do it, because like I say, you get to preview the whole thing before you click that, go live. But yeah, they're just a little thing. But I mean, there'll be people per hour, Fiverr, anything like that. There'll be people that will be sort of highly skilled and pretty cheap to be able to get that done. So that would be that. The second thing would be, even if you think you've proofread it enough times, to proofread it again. Because although this is published now, and on, I think it was the second page, I noticed something. I was like, oh, Jesus. But it's out there now, it's done. But
that must hurt to read it every time.
Yeah.
Can I ask John something?
Sure.
John, well, if you say it's only printed every time, can you not go and edit that now?
I can, yeah. So I could take it down.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It would have to come down completely.
And then pick back. Okay.
And then I'd have to basically re-upload it, or it would take the process of between you clicking live and them actually accepting it and it being live is about 2 days. So 24, 48 hours. So it would be fine. I mean, it's not selling 1,000 copies a day, so it's not going to make any difference, but I'm not that bothered about it. If anything, it adds a little bit more to the realism of it all, but yeah, it's fine.
Oh, okay.
It was basically because it was a first draft ebook, which then got padded out and made into a proper book. There's a disclaimer page, and it says, "Thank you for reading this ebook," on the printed version. So I just needed to change that ebook to book. But of course, if you run a spell check, that's not going to pick it up at all. And I must have read it over like 10 times. My wife read it 10 times. None of us spotted it. But anyway, it's fine.
And when it came to, I mean, selling 2 a day, you've just about started. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't even promoted it at all. So I've done a little bit on Instagram just to say, you know, here it is. It was mainly, like I say, it's very much a process thing for me, which is good because now I know a system. Then I have developed a system which allows me to be able to do this again, because of the very nature of the blog that I write. I do conduct a lot of interviews like this, but I tend to put them down into sort of print format. So there's another idea already. You know, must have once you get the sort of a block of 10, 20, 30 interviews like this in print format, it's almost, again, it's another, you could sort of package that up. But yeah, it's good. It's well worth doing. It really is. And it's kind of I think we touched on this before. It's almost like a sort of extension of the business card nowadays, I think, you know. And it's so easy just, I mean, if you made these with its own unique URL, so completely separate from your website. Oh, have you seen my book? It's at so-and-so. You know, it's just that quick roll off the tongue. Because I do this, I give people a slightly less condensed version as an ebook. And then the immediate upsell on that funnel is, do you want the printed version, which is padded out? So it kind of works like that. So I just need to really get people in to get the free one. And if you're anything like me, I prefer printed books anyway. I don't like reading ebooks. I'm not a fan of sitting there scrolling through. I'd rather have something physical, especially with sort of tutorial stuff. You know, if a textbook, I much prefer having guides in physical form. So yeah, that was it really.
Wow, that is amazing. So you're promoting your book outside of Amazon,
but only the ebook version, which is why I'm not putting it on Kindle. So I think there is a problem there. I don't think you're allowed, once you upload on Kindle, you are exclusive to them, I believe, which is why I sort of avoided that. However, there is another one, if that is an area that you are interested in. I just interviewed a lady on my blog recently, the woman I was telling about, who does like romance novels under a pen name. Now she doesn't do print on demand. She only does Kindle, and which is another part of it. It's a bit called Kindle Unlimited, which is where you get paid per page read. Okay, so it's brilliant. Again, so once she's done, it's uploaded, it's almost set and forget. Because I think the Kindle Unlimited users, it's kind of like Netflix for books. So they pay like a subscription, and for that they can download and read as many as they want. But anyone that is read, the author gets a section of the overall pot of royalties. And she's doing really well, like really, really well.
So there's 2 ways of doing your book. One is a print version and one is a Kindle version. Could you do the same one in both? No, you just said you can't.
Yeah, you can. You absolutely can. Yeah, you absolutely can. Providing that if you do the Kindle one, that you don't do it anywhere else.
What do you mean by don't do it anywhere else?
So like in my case, I give my free one away as a PDF because they join my list. Okay. So I can't then give that away as a Kindle because they want it to be exclusive to Amazon. However, published paperback format is a completely separate entity.
Wow. Any questions for John?
That's it. So you can all become authors now.
Hi everyone. I'm sorry I was late. I couldn't come. My name is Iman. Hi, John.
Hello.
Where did you do your graphics and everything for the book? In Canva or?
Yeah. So everything was done in Canva. I've got the Canva Pro license, which obviously unlocks a lot more, but I'm pretty certain you could have probably done the whole thing in the free one. But
wow.
Yeah, so the formatting and everything was done in Canva. It was the book template, there's like a template for like an ebook cover. So I used that, essentially just duplicated it over. and then just copy and pasted all the text in from my Word document, and then just reformatted it how I liked, because there were certain sections that, you know, I didn't want, and then I wanted images to go near, and yeah, we just sort of played around like that, just like a standard ebook really. And then yeah, the whole thing you just download as a PDF file and just upload it, and it's got quite a good sort of artificial intelligence, and it will pick out if it thinks an image is going to run off the page or anything like this when it comes to actual print. Then it'll kind of tell you which pages and stuff you need to change.
Right.
Yeah, the whole thing was done in Canva.
Wow.
I still can't believe how simple it is.
Yeah, it's very simple. Like it's like not out of reach at all.
No, it's great. Yeah.
So as business owners, I believe we all are, what is the, like, are you going to take your content and write an ebook, or not an ebook, are you going to write a book for Amazon? Like, what are your thoughts after this? Iman, I think you're talking, but you're muted.
Oh, you were asking me the question.
I was asking you and all the panelists actually, but yeah.
There's someone like around me, so I'm distracted. So I already have, I think, some content. I'm not sure, like in my head. I need to sit down and write things down, but I have things. I remember I've spoken about some content for the course and for this. So I have things here and there. I think I just need to sit down and start writing things, because but English is not my mother tongue. So that's my worry actually. But if I could source it out to someone, maybe to look it after I've finished, maybe that could be a good idea, because I'm worried about, like, you know me, about my posts. If we talk about a book, I mean, even if it's a simple, you know, I don't know how many pages book, I still would have to have it looked by someone. But yeah, I guess.
Can I just add?
Sure.
So, a really good place to start with this, if you didn't want to go full blown into, you know, actual text books, if you like, is which I briefly touched upon, and it's a really good way to learn the whole process of doing it, and you've got no real worries or fears about anything if it goes wrong, is to start off with something like a notebook or like a journal. Now, a notebook literally can be something as simple as, you know, 100 lined pages, literally, and that's it. Okay, and your unique selling point will be the cover. So, for example, if you had, I don't know, like in my case, if you've got children, you could just have their name. It could be something like, you know, your kid's name, you know, like say in my case, my daughter Olivia, you could just say like Olivia's book of unicorn drawings or something like that. Okay, slap that on the front. You've learned how to do it. Upload literally 100 pages of lined text. Okay, just a textbook. So then you familiarize yourself with the process. It's amazing how many people make money just from doing this. So they're uploading blank textbooks, or, you know, things like journals. So I use a journal from Nick Loper, and this is his book, and all it is lined pages with what are you grateful for, what did you get done today, okay, with days.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Week 4 review, you know, and that's it. That's literally it. And this sells for like £7, but he'll be making money out of this, and that is all it is. So if I always say to people, like, just start off doing something like that, you know, maybe just create a journal, or, you know, like a document, a book, a notepad, or even a sketchbook, even, just to learn the process of actually doing it. And then you can move on to, you know, the bigger and better things, or whatever else you want to do. But you can build up a whole, you know, there's no stopping this. There's no limits either. You know, it's not like print on demand shirts, which is another one of Amazon's platforms.
Right.
There's certain tiers that you have to meet. So you have to sell 10 shirts before you can upload another 10, and so on and so on. Books, there's no limit whatsoever. You know, if you've got the time, you could create 100 journal designs and upload them all straight away, and that's it, done.
And I could do living in the now journal, helping.
Sorry?
Because I help people really become more aware of their present moment. So understand what's keeping them. Why are they so much in the past, or why are they worrying
perfect.
about?
Absolutely perfect. Yeah.
And help them actually create something that could help them.
Yeah.
You know, write in journal what's, you know, every time when they get more present, when they, you know, they become more like a self-aware journal.
Amazing. I mean, that would be amazing. You know, there you go. So we've sort of broken it all down already, and now you've pretty much got yourself an idea for a printed book without hardly and you're, by the sounds of what you just sort of saying to me then, you kind of already know what you sort of would do with it. And that would just be literally a case of how you'd want it formatted, you know.
Okay.
That's amazing. And don't forget to put the back page as your bio. Because at the end of the day,
yeah. So yeah,
I'll have all your links in there.
Yeah.
Please, thank you. Fantastic.
Thank you. This is, I've never thought about this, John. This is actually a great idea. Like we can do so much with this.
Yeah, you can. You really can. It's great. I don't think, I mean, we're in a bit of a changing world, aren't we, at the moment? And everything's going digital, and, you know, it has been for a while, but the printed book is not going to disappear overnight.
Yeah.
And especially when used as a tool. So like in the case of the book I wrote, it's meant to be a tool. And what we've just talked about then, you know, your kind of self-awareness and the sort of mindset journals, they'll always be needed by people. They're tools that need. So yeah, it's a great idea for that, definitely.
That's amazing. Iman didn't think she would be writing a book in the near future, and she's gone off this call half an hour later, and she's writing a book, publishing it with her name and everything. Oh my God.
Mirelle, you're going to be my accountability partner. There you go. Both of you ladies are going to be witness of this. There we go. I'm doing it.
Chris, has it given you any ideas or questions?
No, so I know I had already thought about it because someone else mentioned it, but it was good to hear John go through the actual process, because I hadn't really, I just knew it was, people are just saying how easy it is. And I've got a few ebooks, and but I give them away as lead magnets. But there's like, you know, like the webinar I'm doing, I could quite easily just put something together in that, you know, how to recover, and maybe make that into an ebook.
6
steps to recovery in an ebook. Not an ebook.
It's not really 6 steps.
See a lot of certainly some of the fields that I'm in, you do see a lot of marketers now. They all do it. They're like I don't know, the book seems to be their sort of hook now.
It is.
One of the chaps I follow is a guy called Russell Brunson. He builds like funnel software, and he's got loads out, and they're really, really high packed value stuff. He gives them all away for free as ebooks, but then they are all for sale now on Amazon. But all they are essentially is lead magnets to ClickFunnels. That's basically all they are. They, you know, they're okay to a degree, but essentially all they are is upsells. You know, lead magnets to his higher ticket stuff. Which, if you wanted to do that, great. If you don't, I don't always think that idea is particularly good, but there are definitely benefits to that. But, you know, in terms of what we just talked about then with journals and that sort of thing, they're just straight off sellers. They are. There's no need to, you know, they are what they are.
Yeah.
And what about the rights and about, I'm sorry, maybe you already discussed this before. Like if I would want to print a book, like the rights, or is that legally, like how is that all dealt with?
Well, I better be careful here. I guess because the whole thing's done within Amazon's platform, as long as you have the intellectual rights, and it's your material, as in what you have uploaded is yours, or you have the right licenses. If you're doing images and stuff, then obviously you need to make sure you've got the right commercial licenses. Then that's, yeah, it's fine. It's all done and dusted. It's all contained within Amazon's platform. So like I say, they deal with all of that side of it.
Okay.
Your job primarily is to just upload the content and, you know, get the formatting right, which we briefly talked about. I am going to be doing, because I've got quite a few people ask me on this. I did invite them all on the call, but obviously I don't know what they're up to, but they want so I'm going to do like a little video of like the whole thing, you know. I'll do like almost a, you know, step by step. This is exactly what I done for this particular book. So yeah, I mean, like I say, if you start off small, start off with the basic stuff. You know, if you did a notebook or a journal, and it went wrong, it's not a big deal, and you just learn from there and go again.
Thank you.
Fabulous. That is brilliant. Wow. John, thank you so much. That has really, really opened our eyes to a whole new take on book writing, for starters, and also just having the book as you being the author. I didn't expect this, to be honest with you. I didn't expect the simplicity of it. And I'm so grateful that you shared with us. So, I mean, I don't know about Andy because you're muted, but I know that we've all gone away with our books, and now all we need to do is go and do it.
If anyone gets stuck, or if anyone gets,
yeah,
you know, get a bit tricky, I know it can be a bit, anything new is always a bit daunting, but yeah, just drop me a line and I'll help.
Did you leave your information in the chat?
There's a website link up the top there. I can put
your Instagram handle,
yeah, if that's,
or anything else, email address. Iman and Andy, do you want to put your contact details also in the chat so I can pick up after that? Yeah.
So
I'll put my email down. Feel free to email me.
thank you.
You'll be the journal success story, man.
Yes.
Credit to John Banks. It almost feels like John Banks is your pen name. Isn't there in one of the, what movie is, what's her name? The one with the umbrella, what's her name?
Mary Poppins. They're the Bankses. Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So there you go.
Or am I the graffiti artist that goes around? No.
It could be either. Mary Poppins, that's the one. Fantastic. So we've got everyone's details in there. So what's going to happen is I will send out an email to the email list, because there are lots of people on the list that just can't make this time. But they do watch the replays because I hear back regards, and they do click on contact details that I do share in the emails because I hear back regards. So I've got all that. The only thing I'm going to say is that the time for this networking event will change, because too many people have asked me, especially from the Eastern time zone area, have been asking me to change the time because they would really like to join, but they can't at 7 a.m. So the time's going to change to evening. I hope that's okay for all of you, but just watch out for the details, shall we say. So thanks again for joining, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Same place, but different time, and I'll let you know what that is. Thanks again, John.
Thank you, John.
Yeah. Thank you,
ladies.
Cheers, John. Thank you.
No worries. Take care.
Bye-bye.